starts to awaken. And that's why, to me, the Kabbalah is such a wonderful tool right now, because it seems to mirror what is actually happening in the world. That there is this sense of spiritual enlightenment occurring, not as if actually, as people do come alive and find the light within themselves and finally start connecting with each other again. So, fire, which is Kether, which is the world of emanation. Water is desire and the world of creation. Air, the world of formation. The mind, this is where desires can be turned into visualized reality and where feelings are generated. And earth, in the earthly plane, is a physical world, the world of manifestation where our desires can be made manifest. Now, it's time for one more exercise, the final exercise. So take a look at your paper. And go over your 4 phrases. Make sure you grok them fully. Make sure you... Okay, who's read Stranger in a Strange Land? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Grok. Robert Heinlein wrote a book in the 60s called Stranger in a Strange Land about this guy who was an earthling that was raised on the planet Mars and raised by Martians, so he wasn't subject to the same rules about how a physical body is supposed to behave or how our minds are supposed to behave. So when he came to Earth, one of the things that he would do is grok a thing. He would examine it from every side, from inside and out, inside the core of its being, to completely grok it. Okay.
Which means to drink.
Yeah, it means to drink, but you drink the thing into your soul. So, yeah, so grok it, please. Yeah, make sure that you can. What we want to do next, you need to be able to say these in your head. So if you are comfortable doing that, when you're ready, relax and close your eyes. Taking a deep breath, hold, breathe out. Hold for a moment. Taking a deep breath again, hold, breathe out. Pause. Now breathe in again, and this time visualize the light of pure being, pure simple existence flowing into you. Hold and let the light change to become a body of water in which your desires exist, and release the breath. Visualize seeing the breath of air as thoughts and feelings flowing out from you into the world. Hold and visualize your thoughts sparkling on the earth like points of light, manifesting your desires. Breathe in again. In your head say the words, I am. Hold and let the light change to become the body of water of your desire. In your head say your desire phrase. I desire. Breathe out. And as you breathe out, say, I feel, and your feeling phrase. And finally pause and say, I release what it is, and receive your desire, your manifestation phrase. So breathe in, I am, and your phrase. Hold it, I desire. Release, I feel. And pause, I release and receive. And repeat that a few times. Say 3 more times in your head. And then when you're ready, breathe normally. All right. Come on back and open your eyes. Now, if you do that every morning, it's of course difficult because at the same time as you're breathing in, I'm telling you what to do while you are breathing in. So you get the idea is that you breathe in, it's the I am phrase, you hold, and it's the I desire, breathe out, and as you're breathing out, you're saying I feel, and then pausing again, I release and receive. Okay, so if you can do that each morning, that helps create the reality. You're releasing those blocks, you're visualizing how it's going to feel, which means that the whole quantum probability field out there starts to collapse in your favor, and you manifest your desires. Any questions so far? Good. All right. Has this made sense? Okay. There's all kinds of books on the Kabbalah. What we talked about today is not exactly mainstream, but it's plain English. Hopefully most of it was in plain English. And really I was trying to explain how the Kabbalah represents the model of the machinery of the universe and how they use that machinery for your benefit of manifesting your desires. But there are other books if you're interested in more exercises and if you're interested in learning more about the Kabbalah. There's 3 by a guy called Israel Regardie. He used to be secretary for Aleister Crowley, funnily enough. But he's written a lot on the Golden Dawn and the Kabbalah.
What was his last name?
Regardie, R-E-G-A-R-D-I-E. And the 3 books are The Middle Pillar, The Tree of Life, and The Garden of Pomegranates. There's a guy called Lon Milo DuQuette who's really funny. He writes a lot of stuff on ceremonial magic, and also the Kabbalah and Aleister Crowley. He's got a wonderful sense of humor, and he wrote this book called The Chicken Kabbalah by Rabbi Ben Clifford, which is a pseudonym, but it's actually Lon Milo DuQuette, and it will say that on the cover.
Does he live locally?
No, he lives. I'm not sure where he lives. He sent me a happy birthday thing, yeah, which I thought was nice.
The Chicken Kabbalah?
A Chicken Kabbalah, yeah. It's a really fun, simple book on Kabbalistic concepts. And finally, there's a book called Kabbalistic Concepts by William G. Gray, which is a bit drier.
Q
but
or K?
Where?
With the book.
Oh, Q. Sorry. In fact, both of those are Q. There's some schools of thought that say that the K is for the Hebrew or the Jewish tradition of Kabbalah, that the C is for the Christian tradition of Kabbalah, and that the Q is for the more secular version. There's another view that says that the first view is complete rot, but it's not for me to judge. So, which one? Kabbalistic concepts. Yeah. All right, now does anyone have any questions? Yes, Gregory.
If we posit, do what thou wilt, who is thou?
All of us. Do what thou wilt. This is an interesting one. Do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Do what thou wilt. Okay, in fact, let me talk a little bit about that. There's a concept in Wicca, which is a kind of an earth-based tradition, that says, and it harm none, do what thou wilt. Okay? And that's kind of like a safety net in there. Now, Aleister Crowley adopted this idea of do what thou wilt, plain and simple. And that's often taken to be kind of this selfish pattern of behavior. But what it really means is that if you truly understand the nature of yourself, the nature of life, and the nature of the universe, whatever it is you choose to do is always going to be coming from your highest self anyway. So you should absolutely be able to do what thou wilt, because you're not going to harm another human being in the process, or anything else for that matter, because that's not coming from your highest self. But a lot of people don't get that, which is why when Wicca started up, they stuck the and it harm none in there, just in case people started getting a bit silly with it. So, did that even come close to answering your question?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay. But thou is all of us. I mean, it's I am, it's you are, it's we are, that do what thou wilt. Yes?
I want to kind of add a little bit to that. Shannon posted what I thought was a very insightful post on the website, which I think addresses this, and he was saying, you always win the game that you're playing, which goes along with this. You're doing what you will, and if you keep saying, I have goal A, but you wind up always at point B, that probably means that what your little thou is after is different from what your big thou is after, and I think it's a signal to you that you've kind of got a dissonance in your consciousness, and you need to start looking a little further up the ladder in terms of what you're viewing as thou. When I say you, I mean general, people in general. And so my concept of that question, what Vaughan has been talking about, is your higher self will prevail, and if your goals keep getting undercut or not manifesting or whatever, then your view of what is thou is too low. You're not me, it could be anybody, whoever it is, isn't resonating with their true thou. Does that make any sense?
No, it opens about 5 more cans.
Okay.
If your higher thou is really God, okay, but maybe in a droplet rather than in the ocean, in a sense, okay, then how would it have any desire at all, any goals at all, except to interact?
At this level, there is none, because everything is contained within the whole.
Right.
And in
So
fact,
whatever happens is just mighty fine.
it's a zero-sum game.
Right.
At the end of the day, I mean, another way of looking at, if you want to look at consciousness, look at it in the sense of this ball or this sphere, this hollow sphere, with all these pairs of eyes coming on the inside of the sphere, looking back at one another. Those eyes represent the individual points of view that we represent as part of our contribution to the consciousness. Okay.
And we as this group of people won't know each other to be all that way up here. Don't forget, we're way down at that other plane functioning. And getting back up to where we remember is not going to be this interactive group where we are right here. It's almost like distilled, right? Because that is so pure. It's like, the purest whatever drug, heroin, cocaine, whatever. Taking it like that, you'll perish. And it's to say it's just the most intense Taoism, intense energy, like atomic burst that would be up there. And in this materialistic and sub-ethereal plane, we don't have the capacity in this realm to get that. Although we've had insight, we've had blurbs of it, or else we wouldn't be here all together today. But like what you're saying is that that's way up there, but that's not where this group is. And in this planet, in this plane, in this lifetime, we won't be functioning there. But this work that we do together is in order to do that weaving cycle that we're talking about, that equal, those equal mercy, severity, everything to raise up to get back to the original king and queen. So we don't have the skin bag to hold that thoutness.
Exactly. That's very cool. I like that.
So we are engaged in egocentric sorcery as we play in the lower 7 realms.
One of the things that this whole group is about is not setting ourselves up in opposition to the ego, but trying to leave it behind as much as possible. The ego does have a purpose. It stops you eating your own hand when you go hunting. It tells you the difference between you and the outside world. The rest of the time it's a fear factory. It's there to produce chemicals to make you afraid of things, so you run away from them and protect yourself. The ego has become something that is more overblown than it needs to be. And part of this group's project, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, John, is to help us desert that portion of it and just let the ego be what it's supposed to be, not what it's become. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Could you speak briefly about the correlation with the number of tarot cards along with the paths?
Yeah, sure. In fact, I can tell you another thing. What I will also post out here for you is not this. It is this. This is just the 7 notes I did for a presentation that I did for the Living Tarot group in Dallas a few months back. This talks about the tarot and the Qabbalah. Okay. Just briefly, then, there's 78 cards. You did say tarot, right? Yeah. There's 78 cards in the tarot deck. The 22 cards of the major arcana represent the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and the 22 paths that there are between these spheres. The minor arcana, the cards 1 through 10, represent the spheres themselves, and the 4 court cards represent the king and the queen, the prince and the princess. Okay? And the 4 worlds are represented by the wands for fire, the cups for water, the swords for air, and the pentacles for earth, the manifestation. Is that brief enough? Cool. So yeah, if you want to read more about that, I'll post this out there too.
What about, is there any astrological?
Oh yeah.
Planets on here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of that too. Yes, each of these, for example, has a planet associated with it and a metal associated with it. Venus for Netzach, Mercury for Hod, Mars for Gabora, Jupiter for Chesed, the Sun for Tifereth, the Moon for Yesod, Earth for Earth, funnily enough. And then there's some discussion here about my personal feeling is that Saturn belongs at Darth, because Darth and Saturn both represent this kind of taskmaster thing, whether or not you can really move on. Then we have Uranus and Neptune and Pluto up there, or the Plutonic concept rather. So yes, and then there's the astrological associations that go along with that. One last thing that I did mean to mention. This tree exists in all 4 worlds in each essence. In fact, each one of these contains its own world too. So the Kether, the Malkuth of one world, of the world of fire, the world of emanation, is also the Kether in the world of desire, in the world of creativity. So, and so on until they loop back together again. So everything is contained within everything else. Okay. Has this mostly kind of made sense? Yeah? Okay, cool. If you have any other questions about it that you want to know, yes.
Do you see any correlation with this, with the chakra system?
Oh, no, not at all. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, there is. And there's all kinds of things that you can find out about that too.
Wait. Even though the chakras and the Qabbalah are 2 different...
yes, one's Eastern, one's Western. But there is a lady, in fact she's got a couple of books out that does talk about the Qabbalah and chakras in great detail. And how you have this middle path that is kind of where she's trying to put you, but also how these elements can, when your chakras get out of balance, you may be more towards one end or the other, or so on. But yes, absolutely, you can associate, because there are 7. I just did that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up there. There are 7 layers that match the 7 major chakras. So yes, the answer is absolutely.
And also music.
Yeah,
we made different relationships to the scales of music, the 7 notes in the scale. So basically everything infinite. That's what I did.
Yeah.
7 levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
And if you want to go into Jewish tradition about 7 is important there, especially, for example, in a wedding, in a Jewish wedding, there are 7 levels of your partner, and that's why the woman walks around the man 7 times on the altar to achieve entrance into each of his 7 levels.
We have that in Greek Orthodox too. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Interesting.
I'm going to throw a kink into it. In Persian tradition, they don't have 7 notes. They have 7 scales out of 11.
Well, that's okay too, because you have the 10 Sephiroth, and then you have the placeholder of Darth.
And 7 rhymes with that.
And 7-Eleven is a store.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
A lot of Persian people own.
That's true.
It's the circle of life.
And Kevin Bacon goes to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
6 degrees of separation, there
Right
we go,
there.
we're all back to.
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, yeah. Yeah.
Which Persians don't even eat bacon, so I don't know.
All right.
Now there.
You've got some big ass squirrels out
I
there.
saw
Squirrels
chasing.
playing in the background. Well, there was a bunch out there.
I saw 2.
Okay. Jonathan, is that it? Anybody got any other questions? Yes.
Oh, I just
Amy.
wanted to make a comment. There is a meetup, it's a Qabbalah meetup, and it's based more on the Judaism Qabbalah, but you actually don't have to take the course to go to the meetup. It's every Wednesday night, and it's just about Kabbalistic way of life. And there is a course if you would choose to, but they want to actually start a Qabbalah center here in Dallas, but it's a live telecast from the Qabbalah Center in LA.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, and you can go to the meetup for free, but then they also offer a course where you actually get an instructor to take you through it. It's like a way of living. It's not very expensive to do the course. I know I didn't choose to do it, but anyway, I went to their meetup several times. So.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah, I just right now they're meeting at
Yeah.
And to get about the Kabbalah Center in LA, there are some books, which I have one on CD. It's called Becoming Like God. And like in those books, they request that you call in and tell about what your experience is, and so you're directed to that center. And so if you have questions or if you have a conversation or anything like that, there's somebody there who can discuss that with you.
Right. Cool.
So that's a cool thing.
And if anyone has any other questions for me, if you go to my profile on Meetup, you'll see my business card out there. I haven't printed them out because I'm trying to save trees. But yeah, there's a business card out there, so I'll be happy to answer any questions you've got. Apart from that, I want to thank John for letting us do this here, and I hope that you found it useful. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
So.